Put him on his own unit squad. Gotcha. We have a vacant squad called the Bolts of Chucking. I'm going to delete the Bolts of Chucking since I don't think we're doing anything with it. Create a squad with no uniform. The Mountains of Oak. Who is my hammer? Tapayoke. Tapayoke. There you go. Go to your equipment. Tapayoke. Give you a weapon. Specific weapon. Was it Eshikliklot? Fuck, what did you just make? Onul tossed. Eshikliklot was a silver mace. The exact opposite of what we were trying to do, some would say. Onul something or other. There we go. Excuse me. Now I need to do these schedule for this man. The Mountains of Oak. I don't want active training. I want inactive. The Mountains of Oak must be uniformed when inactive. That's what I'm going with. We'll give an order where he must train, and I'll set to no soldiers minimum. I can't. 1 soldier minimum. If he wishes to train, he is free to do so. Sleep in room at will. Well, no, because if he's training, then he'll get good at beating people, won't he? I want it to be that he uses that hammer and other people don't grab that hammer. Whatever, we'll go with that. Screw it. It works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. We kill people. What's the worst that can happen? There's one where kids will take turns punching each other's knuckles until someone's knuckle starts bleeding. The one I remember is the one where you would put your hand on the table like this. You would have a coin and your thumb, and you'd fling it at the other person's knuckle who had to be on the table like that. So you were like literally like shooting coins into each other's knuckles.
Why do you think I can do this?
Platoon, what's a platoon? They usually were the 1 or 2 kids that wore rings. Difference between division, unit, and platoon. I'll get to that. That's why it was a stupid idea. All-star, but it's bad guy. I'm off to get food. Good night. I mean to be safe.
It seems we've not got any migrants this season.
I don't know about being safe. So, going down from up, because going down from up, at least in the United States military, a soldier is a soldier. 4 soldiers, give or take, there could be more or less, these are just rounded numbers. 4 soldiers plus a 5th one who is the leader is a squad with their squad leader. 4 squads with their new leader is a platoon. 3 or 4 platoons is a battery or company. That means the exact same thing. It's just called a battery when it involves artillery. So while I was in Patriot, I was part of a battery because we were air defense artillery. But during the time when I was a paralegal, I was in a company. Companies are all in a, because I'm going to get this wrong now. Companies are all in a battalion. You would have 4 or so battalions, plus the battalion officer, battalion commander. They're in a battalion. Multiple battalions together are in a brigade. Multiple brigades together are in a division. Multiple divisions together are in an army? Like not even the full army. I think there's an actual delineation called an army, like the 3rd Army. I think. It's above division. Is there one above division but below an army? I don't know that one. And that's how it works in the United States Army. They have a completely different word for it in the Navy. They have a different word for it in the, and I think they have a different word for it in the Marines. The Marines might just use the Navy terms. And they definitely have a different word for it in the Air Force, where the Air Force calls them flights and wings and other weird, goofy air-related nonsense. We're birds. We flock together in wings. 3 wings to a flight, 3 flights to a seagull, or some weird nonsense word. All I know is whenever I worked with the Air Force, they were always like, oh, I'm this of this flight, or I'm this of this wing, or some nonsense word. It's like, okay, cool. Sure you are. The coin fling was horrible. Glad I passed that phase of my life. Though my boss suddenly challenged me to it during a meeting, that would be an interesting development. How do you pronounce lieutenant, though? So Americans, I believe, oh, I say I believe. Americans is just lieutenant. I believe Europeans call it lieutenant, and I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know if they have it spelled differently, because nothing in that word looks like it would say the word left. But anytime I see in British shows people say lieutenant, they say lieutenant, and I do not. Anemic is... How are you dehydrated? Oh, because he's crazy? Are you like crazy? Well, I guess he's gonna die soon. Because the English make up sounds for words. But yeah, no, it's lieutenant. I always had a the real goofy thing is in the non-commissioned officer line, there's so many different variations of saying the word sergeant, but you can get in trouble for them. So someone's an E5, they are a sergeant. There's like sergeant, staff sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, master sergeant. But like they're not all individually called by their ranks. So I would have the Sir Tower. If someone was talking behind me, I didn't recognize the name, but I was like having to do something. Or if I couldn't make out their rank because they were like a diagonal or whatever, I would start with Sir. If it looked like they were about to start yelling at me, I would add in Gent. I'd be like, Sergeant. And then they still look like they were really, really angry at me, I'd add in Major. Because the one that you're leaving out in that is First Sergeant. And if you got confused, call them Sergeant Major, they tend not to rip you a new one. They're like, oh, I'm not there yet. And then they'd leave and you wouldn't get yelled at. Now just like, oh, thank God. I'm not quite there yet. Good, just don't yell at me. I'd really rather not be yelled at. 4 tables, 4 chairs. Oh. Slight side thing. Going back to 2 stream ago's story, maybe even 3, when I was talking about the beauty and the perfection. Come here, little bastard. That is a Tonberry. And what a freaking little horror game this thing is, usually in the Final Fantasy games when he shows up. I saw a clip from someone doing the Final Fantasy VII remake, and they have Tonberries in the remake. And it was the funniest damn thing because it scoots around and it got to the person's Barrett and did like doom and gloom or something like that. And Barrett just dead. And he brings Barrett back and it fucking offs Tifa. And then after it offs Tifa, he brings Barrett back. Barrett's at like 700 health. He does some like super heal to bring him to like 2,900 health. He like nearly full heals the dude. And then the Tonberry stabs him. He just dead again. I was like, yes. Know the humanity that is dealing with Tonberry. The only problem though that I was like, wait, what's going on here is I think the whole fight took like 20 minutes and I feel like the whole fight should have taken like 40. The Tonberry took way too much damage for a Tonberry. Like they kept its aggressiveness, but I felt like they didn't want the fight to drag on, so they made him have a lot less armor than he used to have. So that one, I can see why they did it. I'm just gonna be an elitist prick and be like, my Tonberries were better. My Tonberries were hard mode. Your Tonberries are easy. But no, I thought it was pretty funny. You see the guy panicking, like, oh God! and he's trying to heal, and he brings it back. And then Tifa goes down, and he nearly full heals Barrett, and Barrett's like, I got the health. And he goes, boink, dead. Oh my god, I love Tonberries. Some places cannot use left. Wasn't sure if it was used at all in the States. No. The United States doesn't even use left to reference the left direction. We just, you know, we point in that. Directions are hard. Left, right. I mean, what? That way. You gotta go the way. You gotta go over there where them trees are. I told you guys that, right? That was a long time ago, so I may have told this story before. But I feel like it was long enough ago with a different audience that it's not like, oh God, you know, we're hearing this again. But there was a discussion that I overheard in the motor pool, because you have maintenance people, and some people are a bit thick, we'll say. But the discussion was they were talking about hunting or something like that. They were talking about trees. Their arguments, they were discussing trees versus plants. For some reason, I don't even remember anymore. Like someone I told the story to previously might be able to remind me what the reason was. At this point, I've forgotten it. But the definitive factor was the last thing I heard before I basically just lost it was trees ain't plants. Trees are what the deer hide behind. Plants are what the deer eat. So there you go. Courtesy to the United States Army. Trees aren't plants because trees are what the deer hide behind, and plants are what deer eat. Oh my God. So just some people in the military are just winners. Speaking of which, oh, you got a chocobo in 14. Nice. As that would make them show up in the Secret of Mana games. It's like listening to Grandpa's stories. Streamer is a boomer confirmed. Left, right, chicken, fish, shrubbery, there, over there, that direction. I'm the Lorax to speak for the trees, and the trees speak Vietnamese. 5. All right, Aramzi, you got dwarfed. Let me get you up in this game, Aramzi. Yeah, I think the problem is we've run out of clothing. I'm starting to suspect I need to get the clothing industry working because this is killing everyone. Has nickname? No. You said 14? All right, you seem to be in a decent mood compared to other dwarves, so that's good. Ramsey. And I'll get your description in a second. In the future, Ramsey, the exact same code. If I haven't told the script that you're dead, then when you type in dwarf, it will send you a whisper saying that you're still alive. So you can like that question, that command is also a question. It's I wish to be dwarf, but also am I still a dwarf? I'm always in a good mood. How's my stoop dwarf doing? All right, you hold on. A Ramsey needs to know who they are and who they may be related to. First of all, a Ramsey, one of our mining NPCs, is your lover, and you believe in Gacket. Gacket is a deity of the Reinu mechanism who most often takes the form of a female dwarf and associated with treachery and lies. Good. You find amongst your friends and kindred spirits Bear Grylls 88, Mr. Man TM, Eldritch, Gopher, Pablo Rasta, Sirlac, Zakthos, Hellfire, Skyrim, Two Cats Yelling to Chulu, Alapega, Virtual Spaceman, Harold Beaver, Tapayoke, 2 of the NPCs, Dictator Bob, Hectic Hermit, 4 of the NPCs, Tathar Noir, Coca-Cola 5, Ghost Word, Anemic Libero, and Bai Wei. Oh, no, lastly, Insane Gifter. Everyone else is a passing acquaintance or worse. So you're really friendly to everyone. A Ramsey is very agile and strong, but she's quite susceptible to disease. A Ramsey likes hematite, zinc, praise opal, clear glass, Knaf fabric, the color red, cabinets, earrings, opossum men for their ability to play dead. I think you're into some freaky shit. And the sight of the fuchsia tress. When possible, she prefers to consume salmon, leeks, and cherry wine. She absolutely detests leeches. She has an absolutely remarkable sense of others' emotions, an amazing spatial sense, a good feel for social relationships, and good creativity. But she has little patience, quite poor focus, and lousy intuition. She dreams of raising a family someday. And since she already has a lover, perhaps she'll be able to do so. In Soviet something, the trees don't get cut with an axe, they cut you with axe. Why is a Ramsey? Praise Glacket. Praise. Oh, sweet, I'm still alive. All those new romances. I'm not denying being into anything. And Virtual Spaceman suppressed. By the way, has anyone died? Anemic Libero finally died. I knew someone did. I need to like set up buttons for everyone to just dwarf kill you on command. 90 billion personally scripted scriptals. 9 million scripts. So I can push a button and personally just kill each and every one of you. Speaking of killing myself on command, you know what? Now that you bring it up, I would like to do that. That sounds... Now, I believe they got those bodies out of there. So I will resume. Cannot resume. Let's say I will resume the river process, but I don't think I can. Let that resume. Our dwarves, something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. I genuinely do not understand what's happening with our dwarves half the time anymore. Obsidian table. Obsidian table. Obsidian table. Now the tavern. Does the tavern have someone? Alapega is our tavern keeper, so we do still have a tavern keeper. We wanted 100 goblets, we only have 59. So let's make more. That's the smelter for hematite. Rock. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's like 30 more. Obsidian. 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 I just want to make sure we don't have any negative thoughts of, oh, I had to drink booze without a cup. Well, no one's making you drink booze without a cup. Yeah, but at the time, you know, I was really thirsty and I didn't see one. Oh, Hellfire Skyrim's already trying to off himself. Well, that brings us back to animal husbandry. How do I spell D? You found it. You found it, Mr. Man TM. I think that's funny though, that when it does it and deletes the messages, like all the messages you can read of people trying are the people that have failed to find the round. Now the only two things I need to get to do is I need it to actually do a not even per thing click where it gets more and more likely the more rounds you go through. And also the same person can't do it twice. So it like goes around between, like you have to pass it. When we get those two things together, then it'll be a proper game of Russian. And then maybe we can have it be worth channel points. You found a 1. He won. He's done the winning. All right, so we have moved food out of here. Now, one of our things, this is what caused an issue. Is it Whipvine? Is Whipvine clothing? I always get this backwards. Process plants on repeat, just to see if I can. Needs unrotten processable plant. So I need to get clothing.
The new season is summer.
A new season is summer. I think I sagged on the last one. I think I sagged on the last one like the lazy bastard I am. Do more. Do more of them. I demand it. Entertain me. Get the whipped cream. Rope read. Wait, I'm new here. What just happened? What do you mean what just happened? Yeah. The problem is the game saves take a little too long. So it's either we sit here in silence for just a little too long, or I entertain you with occasional bouts of physicalness to prove that I am not, in fact, just a talking head. Really, it's also kind of partly for the fact of I stream on Saturdays for 8 hours straight. I don't know why I keep looking at the chat when you're the chat. No, it's because I also on Saturdays I'm streaming for 8 hours straight. And, you know, you really shouldn't just sit still for 8 hours straight. I say, even though in the military I did nothing but sit still in one seat for 24 hours straight every third day. But ignoring that, no, it was just a few in cadence push-ups without really being in cadence. So I'm doing 5 or 6, but it's really double that because it's the military push. So it's, I'm forgetting whether or not I think you start down. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3. For every 100 push-ups you do RNG, I'll do 1. And then there's also the fact that because of really what started this is because of coronavirus, which means during the week I also don't go to school. So I used to be, even if I wasn't doing like PT or anything, I was doing some physical things throughout the week, as opposed to literally doing nothing but sitting. But because of coronavirus, I've had no real reason to leave my apartment. And I did at one point used to be actually properly, attractively fit. So I'm not just going to just sit here. Funny thing is, I feel like it's gonna push all those waters in my well over time, or all those logs. I think my fittest / best times that I ever did was when I was in, not even while I was as Patriot in a combat arms MOS, where we would have to carry things and do heavy shit. I think the fittest I ever was when I was a paralegal. And that's because the NCO of the paralegals, the NCO I had when I was a paralegal, I think he had an injured knee or something. Like he never said why we were doing it or directly. There was just like this weird thing that was known with the other paralegals, and I was kind of like the add-on assistant person. So it was like for a few topics, there was just always those things like you just accept it because that's what they do. So oh well. I think he had a bad knee or something. So he never really did like running and things like that, but he always really liked cardio. So what he would do is every time we had PT, which is basically every day, so every day in the morning, instead of running and doing push-ups for an hour, we would meet up at the pool and we'd do PT in the pool. Now, every regular NCO, every other NCO I've ever had, if I tried bringing up doing this shit, they'd be like, oh, you're trying to have fun or you're trying to play around. No, we're here to get fit. But the thing is, we would do PT in the pool. We weren't doing PT like around the pool or just having fun. Like you're treading water the whole time, which sounds like nothing, but if you do nothing, like eat, like, you know, we'd have breaststrokes and we'd do things on the edge of it where we'd half push ourselves out of the water to get like push-ups and things like that. So you feel like you're doing less because you're buoyant, but treading water for an hour a day, 5 days a week is apparently very, very good for your heart. Who figures? Who would have figured? So that was like the fittest I ever was when I was a paralegal because of one NCO, and I never was able to convince any other NCOs that this was a good idea. But I think during that time, I'd almost maxed out the push-ups and sit-ups. So I think I had done like in 2 minutes 60 push-ups, and I think in 2 minutes I'd done like 41 sit-ups. I was just a little bit under the max for each. And then then afterwards I ran 2 miles in 14 minutes 10 seconds, give or take. And that was like the best PT score I'd ever had, was the one that I had to do as a paralegal. Stream from Pillowfoot Swolitude. That's the thing though, like I wasn't ever swole, don't get me wrong, but like I was fit. Not looking to get swole, I'm looking to just not die. Just get my exercise a bit more. I'm missing a gym a lot. I thought I was a crown lazy fucker. I'm glad to be dethroned. What do I do to work out at home? 7-minute workout app or get some resistance bands. Swimmers are fit as hell. For every 100 push-ups anyone was, I will just lay around the... For every 100 push-ups anyone does, I will just lay around on the couch for 1 minute. Golly gee, that's gonna be a lot of laying on the couch you're gonna be forced to do. We're gonna get the entire world in on this. I run 2 miles a day just to get my mail. See, that's the thing. We would have to do that, like for regular militaries. Always with the running. Always with the running. I don't like doing the running. Doing the running annoys me. Because what we would have to do under regular circumstances is you would alternate between cardio and what do they call building the muscle? What do they call not fatigue? Exhaustion? Muscle failure? There's like another term for muscle failure. But basically we do cardio and muscles. Whatever the term was for muscles. But for cardio we would do muscles, and for muscles we would do cardio, and then we would do cardio during cardio and muscles during muscles. So everyone would just always end up perpetually injured. It was a fucking stupid system. No matter how many times you pointed out to them that it was a bad system, or that the people that invented the original system pointed out how the army was doing it wrong, they always did it the same way, because that was the way they were taught at some point in time when they were still hammering it out and no one pays attention to the damn rules. It was annoying. Hold on, let me get this up. Let me get that out of the water. So if it was cardio day, the day for running, what it'd be is like, okay, we're gonna do 2 miles in 17 or 18 minutes, but also during it, we're gonna keep stopping on the side of the road, and you're gonna crank out like 20 or 30 push-ups, or we're gonna do like 20 or 30 sit-ups, you're gonna do burpees or something. Why? We're here for cardio. Why are we doing this? Oh, it helps keep your heart rate up. Running helped keep the heart rate up. Why are we stopping to do this other thing? Like this does not help anyone. This is not helping. And then the next day be like, oh, okay, well, you know, we're gonna be doing the muscle failure, but everyone's complaining that their arms are, you know, still in pain because we didn't ever give that muscle group a rest yesterday. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do sprints. We're gonna do dead man sprints. We're gonna do this and that. But when you're gonna get over there, you're gonna do like 50 sit-ups. Why? Why are we doing this? This only ever injures people. Now, and I don't just mean like, oh, doing PT injures people. It's just the way they always did it. No one who does PT regularly does the exact same thing every day. That is what they would do. They would just do the exact same thing every effing day. They would find some other way to do it, but it's like, this is the same muscle group. Please, can we not do this? No, you're just being lazy. Stop complaining. You wonder why everyone, by the time they get to your age, has like broken backs and broken knees and shit. I lost 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the military. I am 1.5 inches to 2 inches smaller than when I went in. I have legit shrunk due to what they have done to like my knees and joints and shit. And most of it didn't even need to be done. Didn't need to be done, didn't help. Like I said, fittest I ever got was when I did shit at the pool. Fittest I ever got was not doing any of their nonsense, but when I did shit at the pool. Muscle groups need time to relax. This sounds stupid. Yes, but you couldn't convince anyone of this. You could not convince anyone of this. Every time I get shot from this stupid Russian roulette shit, I'll do nothing because I'll be fucking dead. Anaerobic, thank you. The Navy only ran 2 times a year for the fitness test. Muscle groups need time to relax. Minus 100 for PT. What did it say? Oh, it began construction? Oh, good. The NPC's not going to go crazy. But no, it was asinine. I think they've changed it now, or they are changing it. They kept saying they were going to change it like 3 or 4 times while we were doing it, but they never did. They never agreed on like what the replacement PT was. Basically what it was the same issue as what Common Core is. What they kept trying to do is, and I think this is stupid every time this happens. This includes Common Core. I think this is stupid every time it happens. They come up with a method to evaluate you. In PT, when I was in the military, it was in the Army, you had to do back to back to back. This is all in one day, everyone in the group together. You do sit-ups, you do push-ups, then sit-ups, then a 2-mile run. And you get evaluated based upon the score you did. You have to get a minimum of 60 points in each event. And that's it. If you got more, that was kind of good and would perhaps improve your like promotion capabilities, because it would add points to your promotion score, because they had points system for their promotion score. But other than that, it didn't really do too much for you. But all your leaders, when they get evaluated every 6 months, which adds points to their promotion scores, one of the things that they always try to put in as like a bullet point is all of my soldiers have a score above X amount. So they evaluate your leadership based upon how well you do at this test, which means your leadership is only going to do the things that build towards that test, regardless of anything else. Because if you end up broken with an inability to run, that doesn't reflect badly on them, because the score average will be higher because you're not running. Get what I'm saying? NPC Grease Monkey has created Bub Nusrakust, a raw adamantine table. He claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor. You made an adamantine table, you sack of balls. Worth 1.218 million dwarf bucks. Scour Tomb. This is a raw adamantine table. All crafts dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with cushioned raw adamantine cabicons and encircled with bands of oval raw adamantine raw adamantine, cushioned raw adamantine, encircled with bands of oval raw adamantine cabicons and willow. The object menaces with spikes of pawn grabber leather. On the item is an image of Dorim Emerald Gorge, the dwarf, and raw adamantine. On the item is an image of Talkbreaker, the dog leather buckler in iron. On the item is an image of Forgotten Beasts in willow. On the item is an image of Amost Orgbolf, the dwarf and dwarves in pigtail. Amost Orbgolf is surrounded by the dwarves. The arc relates to the ascension of the dwarf Amost Orbgolf to the position of queen in the year 1. We just lost 4 adamantine to this. 4 raw adamantine gone for this stupid table.
Oh, the mandate's over.
Shut up about your mandate. Shut the fuck up. We're going to put it in there and they can look at it and be happy. We're also teaching metric. So, but my point being though, every time this comes up, it's always a bad idea. Do not evaluate the people based upon what you below them did, because all this will ever do is make them teach exactly to the test. So you have to do push-ups, you have to do sit-ups, and you have to do a 2-mile run. So every time it comes up for them to do PT, what are they going to do? They're going to make you do more push-ups, they're going to make you do more sit-ups, they're going to make you do more running. That's it. That is literally it. Every other muscle group that is not directly related to a push-up, a sit-up, or running is a wasted time. Literally, they can make you be the greatest person at doing obliques, but you don't do an oblique, you do a sit-up. So guess what? Maybe you do a few obliques just to add in some variety, but that is not what they will be doing to try to get you to do. They're gonna make you do sit-ups until either you do more sit-ups or your abdominal muscles fucking tear. And if they tear, then good anyways, because then you're not doing the sit-ups, so it's not evaluated against the your NCOs. It's a stupid system. A public dining hall. That's what we're working on, Eldridge. What do you think this room is? I'm trying to make a nice tavern / dining hall. Best adamantine ever spent. Keep that table underground or it's gonna blow away. The official fort. Oh, that's right. How heavy is this table? I didn't think about that. You've got a point. It weighs 6 pounds. The granite table weighs 78. The obsidian weighs 79. The chairs weigh 79. This table weighs 6. Holy shit. How much does the barrel of booze weigh? The large apricot pot weighs 3. It weighs 12. It weighs twice as much as 2 pots of booze. It weighs less than a stone pot of booze. No, this one has shit in it, I guess. Yeah, it weighs the equivalent weight of 2 empty pots of booze. 2 empty pots, not of booze because there's no booze there. Fantastic. 10 out of 10 would make stupid nonsense again. I kind of think we might have too many areas because they don't seem to be meeting up in any of them individually, so they're not doing social things to be happy. Is the army the oldest branch? Technically, no. If you word it as branch, maybe? The oldest directly is the Marines, since the Marines are 1 year older than the United States. If you go into the National Guard, they go back, I think, an extra 40 years or 100. The Navy had a start where you could say they started before the Army, but they got disbanded and then reformed. I think the one with the earliest birthday is the Marines. I want to applaud the man who made that table so much. The only way to fix the system is one hit with a hammer per broken hand. I just wanted this table to be remembered. Or was it torn muscles? Quote, my ooh is backed up. It doesn't use the Dwarf Fortress water systems. Oh my God. Yeah, good. Fantastic. Raw adamantine table. Just, I wanted it so much. That's what I was sitting there saying. Golly gee, if only we could get a raw adamantine table up in here, everything will be fixed. Now we have eggs, but we don't have an egg room. So this is what I want to do. P food. I'm going to do, that is a gap, that is a wall, so here. Do that as food. Assuming that is a wall, means this will be the entryway. 3. PX 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be the middle. Build, workshop, kitchen, 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 kitchen. What is itching? Kitchen. I'm gonna make the kitchen out of an ash log because I can. This food stockpile will not allow unprepared fish, drinks, or prepared food, but should allow everything else so I can turn it into prepared foods. We'll see what gets brought here. It's the adamantine table. So is there a job I could force you to give my dwarf where she could start wasting precious resources? Yeah, kind of depends on what you mean by wasting. Russian, that table would make a really nice shield. This is my shield. It may look like a table, but it is a shield. It's like a tower shield, except it's a table shield, a table tower shield, a tower shield of tables. Somewhere in there that makes sense. Whatever I'm trying to say. This is my shield. It may look like a table, but it is a shield. Question. I've been teleporting bread. Oh, good. Thanks for bringing over that yak fat. Mmm. These are food stockpiles, right? Let's get rid of these. Don't need them. Why does it look like I still haven't gotten rid of it? I guess I have. Let that get cleared out. Some of these tables and such can go. I'm just gonna order them to be dumped. I don't want to see them anymore. We don't have a place to put them. They're just gonna take up slots in the furniture anyways. I don't know why the pigtail quiver is forbidden. It really shouldn't be. We're up to 2,892 booze again. He has stopped. But the question I have is why? We have plants and things with which he can be boozing. So he should, in fact, be boozing. I want more booze. Simple statement. This room got made, but was never done masterfully because we didn't have a large enough ranged barracks. I have to work on that. You, I want to switch over. Whipvine still isn't even the right one. We need to track down. I mean, hemp plants if I could do it. Well, wait. What do we have? What do we have on this map for plants? I don't care about the wood and the trees. Shrubs, whipvines, prickleberries, broad beans, longland grass, wild carrots, potatoes, string beans, cave wheatgrass, ratweed, plump helmets, bush corey, pigtails, rope reed. So there is rope reed somewhere. 42 of them on Z level 148. There is rope reed. Not hemp though. No hemp for us. Where is rope reed? On 48 they said. Wait, on 48 or 148? Rope reed 148 makes way more sense. I'm about to be like, that's in the caves. So somewhere on this map is rope reed. We just need to gather all the plants. On the off chance that we find the rope reed. I don't know whose job that is, but have at it. Hey, Cave. Yeah, Mark? Did yours just leave a stockpile of 5 chunks of adamantine on its back? Yep. Are you aware how to use that adamantine to make a table? Yeah. Why didn't you stop him? I haven't been able to pray. My God won't answer my prayers. Please. Please answer my prayers, God. Why are we still here? Is it only to suffer? So here's my thought. Oh, the mouse is over. You guys were freaking me out with the suicide gun. The suicide gun. With the Russian roulette. The mouse was at the right thing that it kept linking up with the Kriegasms. So I kept seeing something flashing on the left side of my eye. But every time I looked, chat had moved again, so there was nothing there. It's like there was a ghost. It's like, what's over there? No, so here's my thought though. Not in the next 2 weeks because it's the end of school and I have to do those. But long-term ideas for what to be doing for streaming. And then also I have a secondary thing of ideas for YouTube. So how this meshes is going to determine things. But in a bit, and by a bit, hold on. Before I go further, let me I'm gonna mark that one complete. I'm gonna mark that one complete as well. That room's probably worth a bit. I want to see when the one game is released, and then I'll explain my plan to you. All right, give me a second. What is it called? May 19th. January, February, March, April, May. That is a little over 2 weeks away. So no, we actually have an issue. I might have to try to do this in the middle of the next 2 weeks. Ugh. Well, actually, most of my shit's only this next week. So I don't know when. I don't know when. I thought I had more time. I don't have time. Virtual Spaceman's gone berserk. Is this Virtual Spaceman? No. Where's Virtual Spaceman? Well, hopefully they put him down, wherever he may be. Because I had an idea to stream 3 games. Where's Virtual Spaceman? What is he doing? He's just gonna jump on the first guy that goes through his door, I guess. I thought if they were berserk, they did things. But no. So on the 19th on Steam is the release of the Wonderful 101, which, as I pointed out a couple times in previous streams, is a game that I had backed because 1, I really liked Platinum Games, and 2, I put my money where my mouth is because I'd repeatedly on stream said to all you fantastic viewers that if they would release more Platinum Games on PC, I would immediately buy them because I love their games. So I backed it. It's coming out. I'm going to be playing it. But a whole bunch of you also didn't quite know what I was talking about, other than I seemed rather motivated in my support of the company and their games. Part of what I like about them, and I've mentioned a few times, is that even if games aren't sequels to their previous games, they are. You can tell how far in their company's history a game is by what features are in the game. Each new game tends to introduce a new mechanic, and that mechanic will be a reliable mechanic that you can rely on in future games. So I basically wanted to do a watch the game company grow up with you guys, which with what I have on Steam was going to be Bayonetta, which admittedly, I'm not the greatest fan of Bayonetta. It was one of their starting ones, so you could definitely see the growing pains with Bayonetta, but it's the first one and it was on Steam. I wanted to do Bayonetta, then Metal Gear Rising, and then do Wonderful 101, so we can see it all progress, and then end with Nier Automata. However, it has now become apparent to me I have 14 to 15 days before Wonderful 101 hits the mainstream. So that's put a sonic drowning timer on my plan. We'll find it one day. Whoever finds it, catch it in your mouth. Will you ever play the My Little Pony? No. No, sorry. I'm not. They're both super in depth. I believe it. However, 2 things with that. Particularly going with Hoi 4. 1, when you do things for Hoi 4, you kind of have to have a clue what the hell's going on. So I would not be good at anything because I can do the Game of Thrones one because you have an idea of where things are going. Hoi 4, you know where history is going. You know the historical routes, so you know the ahistorical routes, so you can make a plan of what's going on. Any mod for Hoi 4, I would have to sit there and research to like figure out what the hell anything is, if that makes sense. A lot of those like world-changing mods. I'm not going to sit there and research My Little Pony. That's not happening. I'm not sitting there and researching My Little Pony for a Hearts of Iron mod. It's just no. 2, for a mod for Dwarf Fortress, I'm just gonna stick basically to like those 3 cores, which would be because they're easy for everyone to install and know. Lazy New Pack, Masterwork, and I'm forgetting the 3rd one. Basically vanilla with some graphics. That's what I'm doing for Dwarf Fortress. And like I said, Hearts of Iron 4, I would have to actually know what the hell was going on, or else I would just be very annoyed, and I'm not going to sit there and start studying My Little Pony. Changed my mind, Clover Studios is greater than Platinum Games. You mean the old company was better than the new company? Or are you just trying to see if I know that they're the same company? because Beautiful Joe was released under Clover, which is why we're probably not going to see it because it's not a Platinum Games game. That's why we're probably not going to see it on Steam. Now, I know I'm supposed to be active right now. This is the PT time. However, I'm going to use this to take a quick bathroom break. So give me a sec. Putting your money where your mouth is how you catch Corona. What? How does that even make sense? Wash your money. King Sombra wants to take over the Crystal Empire, and Queen Chrysalis wants to invade.
Hiya.
Stalinigrad wants to liberate all ponies. I'm not a brony if I watch it with my kids. You tell yourself that. You keep telling yourself. And yes, I do prefer Clover because I just think they made better games than Platinum. That's my loophole. This seems to be fairly peaceful for compared to the usual messes the dwarves end up in. I mean, it's kind of funny. You're right. This does seem to be, because look at this. Because everyone said that I turtled too much. I have purposely left my base wide open. And we haven't been having anything. I have purposely left the base open. And if we have something out here, I send dwarves out to go fight it. And this has been one of my more peaceful bases. Like, I think the game knows when I turtle, it sends more shit out to fuck with me. This might have to be a strategy. We double bluff the game. Like, my doors are wide open. Who are you gonna send a monster? Let's go poke the bear. But no, I mean, here's the thing. I feel like it's an unfair comparison. By definition, I have to disagree with you. That I have to say Platinum is better than Clover because of the way their games work. As I said, every game is somehow a sequel to the previous game, unless it's one of their licensed games. So if the whole, if you know, almost a shtick, if the whole shtick to their games is that each new game you do is that much better because of the growth of the previous game, then whatever comes later must be better than what comes earlier. If you like one game, then that game is still there, but the next game has that game in it, just not that game's lore. So at that point, it becomes an argument over lore, in which case you're saying you like Beautiful Joe over Bayonetta, which I would agree with you. Like I said, Bayonetta, admittedly, I'm not that much of a fan of Bayonetta. I like it, I'm just not that much of a fan of it. If they'd done Bayonetta 2, from what I understand, Bayonetta 2 was way better than Bayonetta 1. There was just a bunch of annoying decisions they made in Bayonetta 1. So I would agree with you that Beautiful Joe would be better in that regard. However, like I said, since Bayonetta is essentially...
Oh, stop him, he'll hurt someone.
Where? Who is this idiot? Since Bayonetta is drawing from Beautiful Joe, and since Beautiful Joe... Why is everyone berserk but not fighting? These are like the nicest berserk people I've ever had. Sure, he's berserk right now. I believe it. Bayonetta draws from Beautiful Joe. Rising Revengeance draws from Bayonetta and Beautiful Joe. Wonderful 101 draws from Rising Revengeance, Bayonetta, and Beautiful Joe. Bayonetta 2 draws from all four. Freaking Nier Automata draws from all of them. Like, there's some things in Nier Automata where if you just play Nier Automata by itself, it's a very good game. If you just played Nier Automata as a sequel to Nier and you understand everything from Nier, it's just even more of a emotional roller coaster. It's just even more of a depressing result to a game. Like, oh my God, you actually understand half the references or what they're alluding to. Jesus Christ, that's bleak. If you just do Nier Automata as a sequel to Platinum games, then a lot of the mechanics are just easier to grab a hold of, and it tends to be a lot more fun. You recognize what they're like playing off of, almost in a joking manner. And if you've done Nier and Platinum games, then Nier Automata is a game where you will laugh and then cry and then laugh and then cry. There is no middle ground. There can be no middle ground. Because also, as a separate thing, you have to compare every Platinum games game to which one of two gameplay styles they're going with. Is this a dodging or a parry game? If it is a dodging game, then you're drawing it off of the Bayonetta line, and I think kind of the Beautiful Joe line ish, because all the games always have both. It's which one is the primary one. And if it's a parry game, then it's drawing off the Rising Revengeance line of mechanics. Jesus. Yes, they have some other games that I did not play, so I cannot put them in the list personally. I'm aware of God Hand, and I know of like 3 other games, including licensed ones. Like, they had a Transformers game and they had a Korra game. Transformers and Korras don't count, even though they do draw the mechanics from it. They don't add new mechanics. They were just licensed games. God Hand, I am glazing over because I did not personally do God Hand, so I don't know where I would put it in the spectrum of what does God Hand add new mechanics? Because I don't think I've seen anything in any of the games that I couldn't just attribute to Rising Revengeance, Bayonetta, Bayonetta 2, or Beautiful Joe. I don't know of anything where it's like, oh, this came from God Hand. Is God Hand a parry game? Is that where Rising Revengeance got it from? Same as Nekopara and Space Station 17. I learned about God Hand from Seth. That's an anime game. The dialogue is trash. Wait, what? I'm back. What dialogue is trash? In what? What is... It's not Beautiful Joe. Beautiful. View with a V. Beautiful Joe. Beautiful Joe is the Clover game that I almost kind of want to say started the majesty that is Platinum games. Beautiful Joe is the first game in the series that we're about to get the 3rd game of, where there's a descriptor and then there's a name after it. So you have Beautiful Joe, the second like legit part of this trilogy, like the Cornello trilogy in the movies, even though they're not directly sequels. It's like the core product. Beautiful Joe and its direct sequels is the first one. The second one is the one that's finally being released on PC soon, which is Wonderful 101. Wonderful, Beautiful 101 Joe. The next one is just being codenamed GG right now, but everyone knows that's gonna have some name like Giant Game or Giant Grenadier. I'm just making up G words, but the title's gonna be something like that. That's the way their core games work. Bayonetta, while one of their games isn't one of their like 3 This Is Us games. It was a game that they are known for and they made mechanics with, but that one was a project that they did. It wasn't like one of their personal projects, if that makes sense. Beautiful Joe was the first one. Wonderful 101's the second one, and the third one that has been alluded to is coming out at some point in the future. But if I said Squaresoft is better than Square Enix? So here's the thing. You're mostly completely right. And it's not just because I didn't like the fact that the game's degraded after Square Enix. Part of the problem is Square as a company exists less and less as you go on. You had Square, who did Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, and they did RPGs, and they did good ones. Then they had some monetary issues, so they had to do a merger or whatever, and they became Squaresoft. Then after the movie, Spirits Within, they had monetary issues, and they had to do another merger, they became Square Enix. So Square keeps being the first title But even despite the fact it's the first title, it's no longer Square anymore. It's Enix with Square personnel. Before Square Enix, it was, who did Square mix with to become Square Soft? It was Soft with Square personnel. It's like you keep diluting Square more as you go up through the different names. If there becomes a new company after Square Enix called Circle Enix or something like that, then it'd be even worse. But if you're making that comparison for Clover to Platinum, they've only done one reshuffling, rebranding, and the core guy behind it is still there doing his own thing. So if you want to make that comparison, then your comparison is Beautiful Joe to Wonderful 101, if that's the comparison you're going with. And I mean, I'd have to argue that Wonderful 101 is a pretty fantastic game. God Hand is 100% dodging, so it's another dodging game. That tends to be what they like doing. I think they've only done the parry system directly, the parry system in Metal Gear Rising. I think that was the only one where like they tried something new and they're like, what if we didn't make dodging the primary and parry the secondary? What if we made parry the primary and dodging the secondary? And it got negative reviews for that because nobody seemed to be able to figure it out. It's a really simple concept, but it's so contextually sensitive that if you don't know what the hell you're doing from the beginning of it, you're gonna have a hard time. There are a lot of people who didn't understand the parry system till the end of the game, and that makes the beginning of the game far more enjoyable if you understand the parry system. And all it was is, as stupid as this sounds, is usually Bayonetta, Wonderful 101, Nier Automata, R1, R2, one of the shoulder buttons, you hit it, you dodge. That's how it goes. If you dodge exactly when they were going to hit you, or like the frame before, you get perfect dodge. And that tends to lead to some variation of bullet time. They call it witch time in some games. They call it different things in different games. Hero time, witch time. I don't remember what Nier Automata calls it. Then everything slows down and you get to punish them for doing it. That was the core system. And then if you wanted to, you could give up a bit of your parry system for the counter system, which was slightly more complicated. And if you did the parry system, then instead of just dodging or getting a bunch of things, you completely negated that attack 100% and immediately get a counterattack to beat their ass in. For Metal Gear Rising Revengeance though, you started with the parry. It wasn't a choice of, do you make dodging weaker to do a parry? It's, you have parry. This is what you need to do. It's no longer an option. You need to figure out the parry system. And it wasn't as simple as just hitting R2 or something like that. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Sometimes these dwarves drive me to drink. Sometimes these dwarves drive me to drink. The dude's first block that he just grabbed, he is in a mood, and the first thing he does is grab raw adamantine. I swear sometimes they drive me to drink. And Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, the parry system is extremely counterintuitive. And I back this up. I will lay that on the table. I'm not covering that up. The parry system in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is counterintuitive as fuck. And if you don't understand what's going on, it's such a requirement for the game that they needed to do it's like one of the few games where I think they should have forced you to do a tutorial. They should have forced you to do this mechanic, because they put up a few prompts during the tutorial fight, but they don't help you do the timing. They don't what it is like I said, for all the dodging games, you hit R1 or R2. That's it. On some of them, you can hold the button too on easier modes, and it just happens to dodge when it needs to. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, square is light attack, where you attack by holding your katana, and triangle is heavy attack, where you put your katana in your foot and you kick with your foot the blade. In order to parry at any point in time, you have to push the directional towards where the attack is coming from in relation to your character and hit light attack for him to do a parry. If you were hitting attack buttons and then just gesture towards the opponent and hit light attack, that might be taken as a combo. If you were moving and change the direction towards the attack and hit square, that's treated as you're just moving and going to an attack. You have to, for basically a frame, not hit the button and then hit towards and square at the same time to do a parry. You have to let the game know you're not doing a combo and you're not running if you want to do a parry. The more proficient you are at this, the less time you need to give the game as a window before you do the different things, and you can just mix parries in. It sounds complicated as I say it, but that's because it kind of is. But once you get it, it's done so, like, you end up getting it so efficiently with muscle memory, all the fights look fucking badass. You're like, kick, 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 parry, 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 kick, 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 kick. You know, you're doing the different things. It blends in smoothly and was designed to work well with the combo system. But the game does not quite point out how to do it. It just shows, like, it shows a picture.
Oh, it's completed. I've made an amazing artifact.
You jackass. It shows the picture and it just says left analog stick and square. That's what it says. It, like, the little picture they show is, oh, parry, left analog stick and square. It doesn't explain whether or not you're supposed to push the button. Do you point it at them and hit square? Do you hit square in it? It doesn't point out that you can't do that if you're running. It doesn't point out that you need to not be spamming triangle and then spam square. You have to do it as an intentional input at the same time. If you do towards and square, that's moving. If you do square and then towards, that's attacking. You have to stop pushing. You have to do it like that. You literally have to do them both at the same time. You have to do a concerted parry. And a bunch of people didn't like that because they didn't understand it. I'm willing to bet they still don't understand it. But the problem is, as soon as you understand it and you get that down and you actually get the timing down muscle memory, it's a pretty fucking trippy and amazing game. But it kind of got negative reviews because, one, it's off of Metal Gear Solid and everyone's expecting a stealth game and it's 100% not a stealth game. But then two, that parry system is just such a departure from the norm. Whereas even people who like platinum games, they're used to the dodge system. And even the people who would say, you know, masters of the game that would use those games' parry system, they're expecting to have it when they want it and then just rely on dodge if they can't. And that's not quite how it works at Metal Gear Rising or Revengeance. It still has a strong dodge, don't get me wrong. But like the bullet time situation, if you time a dodge right in all the other games, the game slows down and you get to do a bunch of combos. In this game, that's not how it works at all. You have to parry at the exact time. And what it does is it gives you a counterattack called Sandetsu, where you slice them into freaking as many pieces as a physics engine can calculate for. You rip their heart out and you drink the Gatorade, and that gives you your health back. Because that's how they do healing in that game, is you have to perfectly time parries to cut enemies into itty bitty bits to get their spines and drink the Gatorade. I'm only half joking. It's this weird blue juice. It's Gatorade. They're like, oh, it's filled with electrolytes. It's Gatorade. You rip their spines out, break the spine, and consume the Gatorade to heal. But you need to do the parries to do this. It is such an intrinsic part of the game, and they did not force you to understand this. So you can get through the first couple of levels relatively easily without doing it. It'll be annoying, but it can be done. Later on, you have a boss fight versus, is his name Jetstream Sam? You have a boss fight that is 100%, do you understand the parry system? If you do not understand the parry system, God help you, you're gonna destroy your controller. Because the dude parries your parries. Like, you have to be able to, like, do a 6-chain parry. You have to go ping, 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 to get an opening to stab him. If you don't understand the parry system by that point, you're gonna have a bad time. There are ways around it, but at that point you need to understand the game so much to understand all the exploits that you probably just already know the parry system anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's really, really goofy. But with that rant coming to a middle, we'll say, I say I'm over an hour. So for those of you who will be watching on the archive later on YouTube, which is going to be released after a bit, remember school and all that, we'll catch you guys next time.